and it turns the soil into brilliant, healthy, wonderful soil. And then I have my team of design experts come in and design specifically curtailed gardens based on the space that you have available. And we set up aquaponic systems, vertical setups, huge food forests, biodynamic permaculture, food forest pharmacies are our specialty, where we take super high energetic materials and we plant over 80 herbs, 13 varieties of fruit trees. We can plant more depending on your area, but at least 13, 80 different varieties of herbs that have been handcrafted or handpicked for spagyric usage. About 20 different varieties of lettuce, all manner of different greens, heavy seeding perennials or heavy seeding annuals and biannuals, and then tons of perennials in there, all over, mostly perennial, because again, we're all working towards a perennial philosophy, and you are what you eat. You eat perennial things and violence-free foods, and watch as your consciousness grows. Continue including violence and non-perennial things into your life, and continue to see the same results that the rest of humanity gets. Pythagoras knew what he was talking about when he said to avoid beans and to avoid root vegetables and fish and meat and other things if you want to experience and enhance metaphysical evolution. Although he didn't term the metaphysics. That was my thing. Metaphysics came later by a student of Pythagoras, of course, which was... Okay. Which was Plato, right? Plato defined metaphysics. Okay. Did we go to school? Did we? I'm just curious. Okay. At any rate, here's the thing, is that now that you have all of this food, and I'm talking in 640 square feet, I will produce over 1,750 kilos of food in one season and keep it growing all year long despite the climate that you're in. It may seem incredulous, but it's not. It's very practical, and there's already organizations who are doing that. My organization is not the first. My organization is the first to do this for tax-deductible homeowners, to go in and convert every front and backyard into a garden, so that we have so much food that we hardly know what to do with it. But now most muggles go around and say, hey, I have all these veggies and fruits, now what do I do with them? Well, now you need to have education. So in the alchemiculture process, we have education for you to teach you what to do with the foods and then teach you what to do with the herbs. On the side of the herbs, you start with your practical alchemy training, and you can choose to either approach it initiatically or practically, meaning that you just want to be a medical spagyrist if you do one program. The other, initiatically, means that you want to do it for mystical purposes, that you want to understand nature. And you can do both of those systems at the same time if you want. But you also have to know what to do with the food. So we have a culinary program for you. Again, all of this completely tax deductible and all just based on donation. Whether you have a lot of money or not, come study. That's the way it goes. And you're going to learn how to do completely awesome raw food preparation. You're going to, and some of the best things like raw chocolate apprenticing, you'll begin to learn how to do, all sorts of things. Some really amazing culinary expertise with raw vegan food if you'd like, and then we can also do it with cooked vegetarian food, and Ayurvedic food, whatever. We have practitioners to teach you all of that. And we also have a plethora of education, lots of other different kinds of things too, so the exact same university-style education that you could get in quantum physics or whatever will also be hosted through our organization, through the Archaeus Academy and the Archaeus Institute. And this, in and of itself, will now provide everybody with life, as far as we can tell, except for building materials, raw building materials, which we have an initiative in place to try and switch every Native American nation, or reservation, if you want to call them that. Technically, they're a secular nation. We want to get them processing hemp and go into the tribes and ask them to start growing hemp and creating hemp facilities to get the natives off of drugs and alcohol and away from the dependency on casinos and the white man style that's degraded their entire life. And, basically my feeling is, my ancestors came and raped and pillaged this land. I'll be damned if we're not going to try and help get it back, because the same people who enslaved them are now enslaving us. And it's not working for either of us, nobody. So raw building materials will come not only from Colorado, for the time being, at least into our Utah operation, but we also have an initiative where the very first Native American land that we hit was the northwest band of Goshute, which is in Skull Valley, Utah, about maybe 90 miles away from Salt Lake City. And it's a desert, salt flats. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna bloom the whole damn desert. And we're going to make a documentary about it, just like we're making a documentary of all of this stuff. And we're going to begin to show you precisely how you can do this. I mean, we're going to go down to the Navajo Nation next and bloom that whole goddamn thing so that when you walk down there, it's going to look like the center of Mexico. Tropical and subtropical vegetation, the whole 9 yards. There's no reason it shouldn't happen. It's just the amount of water shortage that they have, all of which can be maintained in the soil if we just get a 1,000-gallon fire truck to initially, water it all down. And some tears of Isis, of course. We could use some of that. That helps in blooming the desert. And once you have all of the food that you need, you have raw building materials, you have hemp basically for paper, for textiles, for clothing, for food, for all sorts of things, then what do you need? Not a whole lot, right? So now you can begin to focus on your liberty. And these are the very first projects. We have about 45 different projects that we're implementing right now, but these first 3 are the first tax-deductible ones to begin to come in, which is the alchemiculture movement, where we come into your front yard, we transform your entire yard into an alchemiculture food forest pharmacy. We teach you how to begin to prepare the foods, how to preserve the foods, how to begin to feed your neighborhood, how to take care of the soil, how to help the ecology, and I also offer you a mystical ability to understand what's really helping, or what's really happening in the soil as well, because if you can understand that, you're seeing the same exact diagram process that we do in the laboratory. You're just seeing it deconstructed on a slightly different level. You're just seeing it applied to a different level. And now that becomes, as all of you can attest, a direct mystical insight where you can tap into the exact same laws of the universe that are operating everything. You tap into the alchemical circuit, essentially. And, obviously the spagyric thing is huge. So, really fast before you go, I want to let you know that this is a nationwide program. This is federally sanctioned. And the reason that I changed my presentation today to talk to you guys about this is because we need this to spread all over the United States. We need you guys, if you're interested in any of the things that I just said, to step up and say, how can I help? And we will get a local chapter going on in every city in America, in absolutely everything that we're doing. We'll team up with the businesses, we'll install you with mobile marketing help, we'll get everything that we have in Salt Lake City set up for you and help you run this thing so that we can really drastically begin to transform Salt Lake City. And in about another 2 or 3 months, we should have a feature-length documentary about what we've been doing with our complex at the warehouse actually coming out, so that as we get you guys prepared over the next 90 days, when we launch the video, it launches in every city across America, hopefully every city across the world. And in Salt Lake City, we've changed the legislation to where we can now have front yard gardens and urban bees and things like that. Many of the cities and the states that you live in may not help that. They may not allow that or even want that. And so I'll teach you how to create an effective revolution where you show up at City Hall with 600 or 700 of your closest Facebook friends and you make a difference. And I'll show you how to create that revolution not only in the soil, but through people, through social networking, through the expert use of mobile and social services. These are the kinds of things that we have available to us. We have everything that the powers that be have in terms of technology. And all it takes is a slight amount of education, a whole lot of determination to do this. All of you are going to be responsible for the transformation of this planet. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not so certain that I can plan for my retirement right now. Where's the world going to be by the time it's time for me to retire? And I'm not even going to think about where the world's going to be by the time my daughter grows up. So if you share any of the values, if you share any of these principles, any of the ideas that I just laid out to you today, please at some point come up, talk to me, ask me questions, help get started, purchase some labware, buy some spagyrics, do whatever it is that you can do to help out, to get interested, and to begin creating a sociological transformation utilizing alchemical principles from the ground up. Thanks so much. Thank you guys.